You found it. Your home for the best content on your favorite team, the Fighting Tigers of LSU. Do us a favor. Subscribe to the channel. Leave your comments below. Be sure to smash that like button. I think when you look at that game, when it ends the way it did, it's so easy always to go directly to the finish. And to look at, unfortunately, a freshman in Mason Taylor who, if you watch the block PAT, he was the wing, he was the end on the left side, and he went out. And the defender came underneath him and blocked the PAT. Y'all know football expert 100 years ago when I played at a low level of football, I was on every kick unit. I was a big fat guy. I was a lineman. And everything was always blocked down. If they're going to get you, make them go around the edge. And the fact that you had to block them from the middle and the edge is just so disappointing that you left a gap there. And you got to coach him better. That's coaching. Undeniably coaching. Freshman tight end, probably for the first time in his life on the PAT unit, and he screwed up, and it cost you. But when you pay attention to the end, sometimes you forget all the things that transpired over 60 minutes that led to that moment. LSU got the opening kickoff, and the kick went out of bounds. So LSU started with incredible field position. And on the first play of the game, on the very first play of the game, you got your explanation why Jaden Daniels. I sat here on Friday and told you all last week that Jaden Daniels was going to be LSU's leading rusher. In the first play of the game, you saw why. Blitz came, pressure came, Daniels escaped, 25 yards. Boom, flipped the field. And you added a 15-yard penalty on top of it. You're in business. You're cooking. First down, they go up top to Keyshawn Butte. Contested ball in the corner of the end zone. We've seen him make that catch. Defender made a play, wrestled it away from him. That's unfortunate. Got a second down play. Jaden Daniels, 9-yard run. Boom, he's got you in business again. You convert the third down. You're at the 7-yard line. You run Armani Goodwin for 2 yards. You get second and goal from the 5. Boom. Snap. 14 yards over Jaden Daniels' head, and you end up settling for a 36-yard field goal. Y'all, in one hand, it's the affirmative of Ramos hitting that field goal. On the other hand, it's the confirmation of the thing we feared, which is Garrett Dellinger ready to handle the shotgun snap? And there were several times in that game where it cost you, and that was certainly a giant one. How different is the game if on the opening possession of the ball game, you go right down the field and punch it in for 7? Even if everything else is equal, Jeray Jenkins' touchdown at the end of the game wins it for you. PAT doesn't even matter if you punch it in the end zone there. But you didn't. But even still, things were still going well for you. Florida State's first possession, they moved the ball down the field. Unfortunately, used Mason Smith and B.J. Ojulari on consecutive plays. Ojulari would come back, and you force a field goal attempt, and they miss it. So you're up 3-0. You're a blink away from being up 7-0. You force them to miss a field goal. You get the ball back at your own 29-yard line. You go 3 and out. No worries, right? Because here comes Jay Bramblett. Boom, 55-yard punt. At the end of the first quarter, y'all, special teams looked awesome. Ramos hit his field goal. Ramos was also handling kickoffs, hit a touchback. Bramblett's first punt goes for 55 yards. Like, you are feeling pretty good about special teams. I even tweeted that at the end of the first quarter. Well, that certainly didn't pan out for the rest of the game. But Florida State gets the ball, and this is where you really started to see how Jordan Travis, especially on third down, made his impact. They converted 4 different third downs. 3rd and 9, threw it for 13 yards. 3rd and 3, 6-yard reception. 3rd and 3, 4-yard reception. 3rd and 2, Travis runs for the first down. And then they scored on the flea flicker where they got over Mekhi Gardner's head. So you're down at the end of the first quarter. You're down 7-3, but you still feel like, man, okay, down 7-3, but had a touchdown drive that stalled because of something we did. Let's go put it together. And LSU responded with a really nice drive of its own. 13 plays, 52 yards, 7:17 off the clock. Beautiful play. Jaden Daniels essentially took over. On first down, he was sacked, came back, 16-yard reception to Brian Thomas for a first down. You're at midfield. 8-yard scramble. Beautiful play on the screen by Malik Neighbors where he got hit behind the line but fought his way to get the first down. Cole Taylor had a holding penalty, so you got 2nd and 18. Jaden Daniels, 11-yard run, get you back in position, then converts the 3rd and 7 on his own effort. Like, he was awesome. The next play was the high snap where he corralled it and managed to get 8 yards out of it. Like, he took over. Jaden Daniels took over on that drive, and then you had a false start by Cam Wire. It's 3rd and 11, and you drop the slant to Kayshon Boutte, and he didn't get his head around. This is where I say when you look back at the game itself, you look at moments. This isn't luck. This is your center snaps the ball 14 yards over the quarterback's head. Your best player, they draw. Everyone's, where's Kayshon Boutte? Why don't they give him the ball? 3rd and 11, slant to your best player, and Jaden Daniels throws a rope and literally hits Kayshon Boutte in the 7, and he didn't get his head around because he was looking at the safety. He was waiting for the hit. He was disengaged because he was upset after the false start penalty by Cam Wire, and he was lackadaisical, and he blew a shot to get it. How much different is the game if Boutte gets in the end zone? How much more is he engaged? You have a lead going into half. All of these things change the dynamic of the game, and that's not luck. And can you say, what's fixable? Well, is it fixable for Garrett Dellinger not to snap a ball over his quarterback's head? Sure. Is it fixable for your best player to catch a ball when it hits him in the number? Yeah. How different is the game if that transpires? But it didn't. You didn't make these plays. So you get the field goal blocked right there. Florida State gets the ball, and your defense gets a stop. Your defense gets a stop. You're going to get the ball back before the end of the half, and Malik Neighbors muffs the punt. But this is where I'll say, when you look for the good in the game, how about the defense? You give them the ball at your 16-yard line. Defense came up with a stop, and you give it right back to them. And boom, boom, boom. We're going to remember Sage Ryan for the pass breakup in the end zone on the 4th and 2, but they had a 3rd and 1, and you got a TFL. Your defensive line stepped up huge when they tried to run for the first down, got the stuff, which Mike Norvell then decided to go for it on 4th down, which that's the kind of decision that gets coaches fired, quite honestly, y'all. That's Scott Frost with his onside kick against Northwestern. Like, they gave you a gift. You take the points right there, and you go into halftime up a touchdown, getting the ball to start second half. Awful decision by Mike Norvell to go for it on 4th down, and he darn near paid for it. But this is where you have to look at Brian Kelly and go, hey, man, the organization has to be better. Sage Ryan comes up with the stop on 4th and 2, and then coming out of that change of possession, you have to burn a timeout, your final timeout of the half. And ultimately, you run out of time because you took a sack, and then you threw the ball to Malik Neighbors over the middle, and you ran out of time because you didn't have a timeout to stop the clock after the sack. So that's one of those where you have got to organizationally be better, and there was a greater expectation on a coach like Brian Kelly not to screw up in that moment, and that is on him. So you go to half. Despite all that went wrong, and as bad as you felt about it, it's 7-3 at half. You were so in the ball game. Go make your halftime adjustments, come out, do better. Florida State gets the ball to start the second half, put together a really nice drive, but you managed to hold again. 14-play drive, 68 yards. They eat up nearly 7 minutes of the third quarter, but you held them to a field goal, which they make. So you're down 10-3 at this point in the ball game, and you're getting the ball for the first time in the second half. And this is where you really feel like the wheels started to come off. You go 3 and out. Bramblett shanks the punt. They get the ball back, and they drive right down. 8 plays, 57 yards. They put it in the end zone. Ali Gay is ejected on the targeting call, which was brutal, and you're down 17-3 late in the third quarter. But LSU responded. And if there's one thing, and I'll say it again, that is maybe the overarching positive of this game, is that LSU didn't quit in the ball game. At that point, you're down 17-3. There's 4:12 to play in the third quarter. 4 minutes to play in the third. You're down 2 scores. You've done nothing offensively all day. And you put together an 11-play, 82-yard touchdown drive. This is where they gave the ball 4 times to Noah Cain. The middle of this drive is where they finally went tempo, and it worked. They found Neighbors. They found Mason Taylor. Jaden Daniels had a run. Then they got into the goal line situation. They gave it to Noah Cain 4 straight times. You even overcame the adversity of being stopped on third down, scoring on fourth, having them stop the game for review when you scored on the 4th down. Brian Kelly was livid and should be. And then you came back and scored anyway in a beautiful hard run by Noah Cain, and it's 17-10. And now all of a sudden you're like, okay, Tigers, fourth quarter's ours, let's go get it. And Florida State punch you in the mouth again. 12 plays, 79 yards, 5:56 off the clock, right there at the end of the third quarter, beginning of the fourth quarter. And now you're down 14 again. You're down 14. It's 24-10. And really, that's where it felt like for many it was over. But LSU came right back. And this was the drive of the night until what would be the drive of the night. 15 plays, 75 yards. It was absolutely incredible to watch. You had a 3rd and 5. They converted on the pass to Brian Thomas along the sideline where he did a beautiful job of kind of like tight-roping. Jaden Daniels on 2nd had the slide where they marked him a yard short to the 3rd and 1. Armani Goodwin was tackled for a loss, so you had a 4th and 2, and you found Kayshon Boutte in the right flat, which was a beautiful play design to get the ball to your best player, and he converted for you. And then ultimately you go down and you end up scoring on the second down play. So it's 24-17, right? You cap off the 15-play, 75-yard touchdown drive. It's 24-17. You need a stop, and you get it. You get the stop. You get your first 3 and out of the ball game. They punt, and Malik Neighbors muffs it again. But LSU didn't quit. Again, another decision that should get Mike Norvell fired is running a toss play at the goal line when you're leading by a touchdown. You could literally take a knee 3 times, kick a field goal, and you're up 10, but he runs a toss play. They fumble and give LSU the ball. And then I was sitting at Don Juan with T-Bob, and I said, bro, this is some Anthony Jennings, Traven Durrell, 2013 Arkansas stuff. Minute 20, 99 yards away, and they put it together. 11 plays, 99 yards. We all know how it all transpires. They have, the play at the sideline with Mason Taylor. They have a 2nd on the clock. Some people have asked, why did they get an untimed down? It wasn't an untimed down. Remember, Florida State called a timeout after. So the long review happened, and Brian Kelly was telling his guys, hey, snap it on the whistle. Well, Florida State called a timeout to get set defensively, and when that happened, it basically nullified the first down, run the clock. So the game clock started on the snap at that point. And, of course, Jeray Jenkins comes up with the touchdown reception. And we know what happened with the missed PAT or the blocked PAT. So LSU loses it 24-23. When you go through it, there's so much to unpack in a 60-minute game. When you look at the opportunities that LSU had, yes, they were terrible on 3rd down defense, and so much of that, quite honestly, is a huge hat tip to Jordan Travis because time and again LSU couldn't get him on the ground. West Weeks came on a blitz, hit him, he spun off. Same thing for Mike Jones. Time and again we saw Jordan Travis in trouble, and they just couldn't get him on the ground. You tip your cap to a veteran player who made a lot of plays. I don't mean to nullify all of the good that Jordan Travis and some of the Florida State guys did. Alex Atkins, their offensive coordinator, who I believe is their play caller, called a brilliant game. And yes, LSU's got a ton to work on. But you can dissect this game and you could say there were moments. You score on your first drive. If Kayshon Boutte hauls in that slant for a touchdown, there are moments where you can look and say that whole game, the whole complexion of that game changes if you fix certain things that you were doing wrong. But they didn't. And that's why LSU was in the situation they were in late, and that's why they lost the game, and that's why they're 0-1 now for the 3rd consecutive year. How can they build upon that moving forward? It's going to be critical because there are winnable games on this schedule for this team. They're going to play teams better than Florida State. They're going to play teams worse than Florida State. There's winnable opportunities out there for this team, but they've got to improve. Hey, thanks so much for watching. Please leave your comments. I love to interact, and be sure to hit the red subscribe button below.